As I said before the break, Mary Sheffield's the mayor-elect for Detroit. I would love to interview her. I really would. Here's a snippet of her speech from last night, her victory speech.
Mary, Mary, Mary.
Good evening, Detroit. Wow. Detroit, we did it. We did it. Detroit, you showed up, you showed out, you stood strong and raised your voices towards a future that we all can believe in. And when some said that it couldn't be done, when some said that it was not the time, Detroit, you said, together we can. Together we will. And tonight, together we did.
That was mayor-elect of Detroit, Michigan, Mary Sheffield. So I wanted to have my good friend, Kwame Kilpatrick, on, former mayor of Detroit. Kwame, welcome back to Detroit's Morning Answer, brother.
Hey, it's good to be here. It's good to be here. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, man. I got so much, man. We got to talk offline because there's so much I got going on, and I would love to update you on some of the great things that's happening, man.
That'd be good. That'd be good. I love it.
Now, you saw the election results. Mary Sheffield is the mayor-elect. What feeling did you get about where Detroit is emotionally and culturally right now with this, with electing Mary as the next, Mary Sheffield, let me put some respect on her name, as the next mayor of Detroit?
I think that it's two things. One, that Detroiters really wanted a Detroiter to be mayor. I think that people are thankful for what Mike Duggan has done over the past 12 years. I think people see the progress that has happened. But at the same time, Detroiters don't feel connected to the office. And they wanted to once again feel a connection to the mayor's office. And then Mary Sheffield has, number two, she's been there for all that time, since 2014. She's been there. She's been in their community. She's been at their homes, their playgrounds, their community meetings. And they know her, and she's connected to this community. Her family's connected to the community. She was running against a person who has a church but has never been a part of the community vibe.
Makes
and so
sense.
People didn't know Solomon Kinlaw. They knew him from the church. They knew him as a preacher. They saw how he understood multiplication in the church community. They see how he grew a church. They have a tremendous amount of respect for him in that area. But people like to feel their person that's representing them in the mayor's office. And we had 12 years in Detroit's whole history where that didn't happen. And I think Detroit yearned for it again.
And I think a lot of people also saw the historic moment of this. Mary Sheffield becoming the first woman, and specifically the first black woman, to be the mayor of Detroit. You think that had some weight to it as it related to how people saw this race and wanted to ensure that a history was made?
Absolutely. I think that was major in this election, particularly coming off the presidential election, where that moniker of the first woman, this or that, was something that was not achieved, and a great deal of Detroiters desired that Detroiters had the chance to make it happen. And I believe that's a big, huge thing. But I think more, if she was ill-equipped or she was not ready for the job, I think the same thing would have happened that happened in the presidential election. I believe that this is her time, and she's walking. I congratulate her, and I would love to have a conversation at some point with her, because I think this is a job that nobody could be quite prepared for.
Yeah,
that seat is a lot bigger than people think.
Before we get to that, I want to talk about something as it relates to leadership style. Some have called her a very progressive mayor who's going to come in and do some of the stuff that Mandami has said that he's going to do in New York. Do you think Detroiters are ready for that, especially after 12 years of what some have called a moderate Democrat in Duggan? You think Detroiters are truly prepared for the onslaught of the raising of taxes or anything like that, if it's true that her agenda lines up with someone like Mandami?
Absolutely not. I think that New York and Detroit have very different issues. it's not just population, but it's the demographics of the city of Detroit and the demographics of New York, not just what we always think. We think demographics of ethnically or racially. I'm talking about the financial dynamics and the budgets of the city and what the city is coming out of and moving into. And so I don't believe that you can have a Mondami strategy in Detroit. It sounds good, but when people understand that they have to raise their property taxes, raise their sales tax, raise their their income taxes, they'll start to say, wait a minute, hold on. Let's back up on the Mondami thing. In Detroit, we want to make sure Detroiters have more money in their pockets. And Detroiters get real conservative. Everybody's grandparents in Detroit are kind of conservative, And so Detroiters get real conservative. I'm talking about regular men and women that work at the plant, that work at the city offices. They don't want nobody taking more money from them. They would like more opportunities to engage government, for government to have more of a reach into some of the things that they're concerned about, but not in the Mondami style, not, taking the health department, taking all of these hospitals, taking all of these different things, and then just paint a broad brush, go across, and raise everybody's taxes to be able to have government on your porch.
Now, Kwame Kilpatrick, you've experienced the weight of that office. What does a mayor of Detroit learn that no one else ever sees? And what will she learn, you think? What do you think is going to be her first real, Mike Tyson says everybody's tough until they get punched in the mouth, basically saying you don't really understand what the weight of this is until you get that first crack at you.
I think the first thing she's going to understand is that Mike Duggan is gone, and she's there, and she's 30-something. She's the first woman. She's African American. She's from the city, and it's not because it's just the seat; it's who's in the seat. So she becomes far more interesting than a person who started at 24, came through the county system and led DMC and came over there with great corporate support and a corporate mindset and also political connections. It's her in the seat. So she's going to notice that the type of decisions that she makes are going to be on the front page, things that would have never even hit the paper when Mike Duggan was there.
More scrutiny.
Learn that seat. It's definitely more scrutiny, and it's more scrutiny than a council person. The second thing is she's an executive. Yeah. She's not one of many people that has to make a decision. She's going to have to make a decision today. Yeah. We can't belabor the point. It can't be 3 days. It's today. She's going to have connections into Washington, and people are not going to accept that since Trump is there, we don't know him, all this kind. She's going to have to make connections that people are going to depend on her to do it. And Democrat, Republican, none of that matters with the mayor. The mayor has to get it done. There's no excuses. She doesn't have the excuses congressional members have, legislators have, where, the Republicans messed. No, get it done. You are mayor, get it done. And lastly, she is touching everybody from the person that rides the bus to the person that's on the bus, drives the bus, to the person that fixes the bus, to the person that fixes the bus signs. The connection of the mayor to the people in the city of Detroit, it's not just a legislative connection. It's not just an executive connection. It's a personal connection. And that's going to be one of the things she's going to recognize as well.
I had a few people wanted me to come out and come against her about, some of the stuff that came up late in the campaign. And I'm like, well, I don't do that type of radio. I don't do personality politics or personality radio. All I want to focus in on is a person's policy stances, where they, what some of the decisions they've done policy-wise. That's all I care about, Kwame. Nothing else matters, because the policy is more important than the personality, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. This is why I don't go after people. I don't do the name calling. I don't do none of that. That's just not my style of radio, because I think the voter needs to be educated on where a person stands as it relates to what they're going to do as far as policy-wise. What do you say about that?
I think that the people of the city of Detroit agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah. I think that they're not, 20 years ago, the media had that kind of impactful influence. Now it's so different. Social media, public engagement, personal engagement, neighborhood engagement overwhelmed. The person who was really driving all of this stuff against her was her opponent, and she beat them 80-20. I mean, this is not like a this. I think that what you're talking about is exactly what people are, where people are now.
Yeah.
You know, people like salacious stuff, and it's cute, and it's something to talk about at the mall or the beauty shop or the barber shop, but it's not impactful on them making a decision on who they trust more in the office. And that's what I believe she overwhelmed because she handled it very professionally. She didn't respond to it. She didn't go around. And I think she needs to understand that this kind of stuff is going to happen. She's the mayor of the city of Detroit. The media here now has a person that they can talk about, that people are interested in. So they're going to talk about her. And I hope that she could be prepared to stay the same way that she was, professional, focused, and leader, like in every time I saw her, she was being a leader. And I think that would overwhelm me.
You know, I always call Detroit my second home because I've always been here with my family. I got a ton of family in Detroit, Flint, South Haven. Just all over Detroit, Michigan. I have family, and I've always come here every summer. We were driving here, and we would stay sometimes the whole summer, and I miss it. You know, and one of the things that I've learned about Detroit, leadership has always carried this combination of authority, I'd say empathy, and there's a cultural presence. What is the most important quality you think, Kwame, for a mayor to lead Detroit well?
I think the first thing is before the executive nature, because that's something you can learn, before the pragmatism and making sure you put not all like-minded people around you, but to have Abraham Lincoln, a group of rivals, people that would have varying opinions. I think before all of that, you have to have a passion for Detroiters. I think coming out of a bankruptcy and different things like that, you needed a different model. I believe that right now the city is ready to move forward in taking everybody with it. And I think that she has to have a passion to see Detroiters win, but not just this stereotypical notion of Detroiters. I mean, Detroit entrepreneurs, Detroit business people, Detroit nurses, Detroit hospitals. And so I just think that it's somebody that has the passion to continue to pursue excellence and to pursue the goal, whatever that goal is, whether it's developing, whether it's making sure all our children are educated, to make whatever it is, because Detroiters need her to operate in that way. And I just think that they picked the right person in this particular election.
You know, one of the things that I've learned traveling throughout the city of Detroit, and one of the slights on Dugan was that he focused too much on downtown Detroit and not so much on urban Detroit. What do you think? What do you think her focuses are going to be as it relates to the urban part of Detroit, where the city part, where Black folks and people like that are living? And you look at manufacturing. You travel Detroit, you see all these empty old manufacturing buildings. You think she can work with the President of the United States of America to bring industry back to Detroit?
I do. It's the type of industry that it'll be. I think a lot of people are consistently looking for some kind of, the remaining remnant or vestige of the automotive manufacturing industry in Detroit. But I think if she understands that the diversification of the industry base in Detroit is the best thing that can happen here, because at all levels of education and preparation and training that we have out there, there's some opportunities there for her to bring back some things. And yes, I do believe that she can have a great working relationship with the President of the United States. He's not running again.
Right.
He's not seeking election. He's trying to do deals. And with all the rhetoric and all of the political conversations, I believe that she has an opportunity to get there and get help in bringing industry to this old urban place. And then with Mike Duggan, I think Mike had to come out like that. I think that he was the type of mayor that you needed for the time. I do believe that. I believe that that kind of executive mindset and that notion that we got to, present ourselves a little better, get some deals done, it was appropriate for the time. And I'm not, I think that he did a good job in that side. But you're right, there was a tremendous disconnect between downtown and the neighborhoods. And so I think part of her job also in bringing that new industry is bringing neighborhoods into participating in what it is. And I think that is something she will focus on. It's something that I heard a couple of times. I heard that from her opponent too. But I think that is the key for success in this this new administration. I'm excited about it. I think that it's good to have a young person back in there, a new, vibrant part of the political process, and I'm hopeful that it won't get extra political, but she will be executive and policy basis and do the job.
Because I'm going to tell you, man, downtown Detroit, I hadn't been into downtown Detroit in over 15 years. Kwame, I didn't recognize it. I mean, it is so beautiful in downtown Detroit. I mean, I'm looking at all these new high-rise, these new buildings, and I'm like, I remember when, I forget this name of this, there was a brother that owned some breakfast joint, and he had just opened it up. Yeah, I mean.
Detroit Breakfast House.
Yeah. There it is. And I remember that being there, and everything else was a little dilapidated. And I saw it, and I'm like, wow, this downtown Detroit is a mecca now. And that's because of good leadership, right?
It is. When you talked about the Breakfast House, all of those storefronts were redone between 2002 and 2008. So where that whole strip, that whole campus marshes, so you had 9 city departments come in, reroute the streets, build all of the new storefronts. You also, where Hudson's, that building is being built, you had a new parking lot put underground and the stills put up. What you see happen is administration came in and got all of those things filled up, have a building going up on the things that were there. And so, it's moved from the old Detroit to the preparing Detroit to now the new Detroit. And that's something. Now, when I rode down the street the first time, I rode down Woodward from the boulevard to the river when I first got home. And I called Mike Duggan from the car, and I told him that this is me. I had never seen the Pistons arena. I didn't even know they were downtown. So, so a lot of the stuff that you see is the vision. It's not just a vision of Mike Duggan, though. It's the vision of Coleman Young, who, when he did the Main Street project in Foxtown, said we need to develop this all the way to the river. The vision of Dennis Archer, who had the concept of campus marshes. The vision of Kwame Kilpatrick, who actually did campus marshes. You got those stadiums up there from Dennis. And so, this has been a long time coming, and I believe all of that preparation has led to a point where an executive leadership like Duggan has been able to take it and get it to that point. I don't believe that now Mary has to recreate the wheel.
Right.
I think that she can come in. There's an energy. There's motivation now. There's all, you can show people different sites. The price of land has gone up tremendously. I think now the connection for Detroiters, the 600,000-700,000 people that are around downtown and all the neighborhoods from east to west, south to north, they now need to be plugged in to the energy down there, the energy on the riverfront, the energy in neighborhoods. And so I believe that's her mission. She doesn't have to do the hard work of now preparing development. It's already happening.
Wow. Kwame, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I wish I can continue to talk to you. We got to do this more, man. I want to create a Kilpatrick Day where you come in and you just give me updates as to what's happening. Because you've lived this, brother. You lived this. Everything that you've endured, everything that you've had to go through. Now you're teaching and ministering to leaders across, not just in Detroit, but across this country. And I think people need to know the story of Kwame Kilpatrick. It's not over. And I can't wait till you write the book. If you need help with that, I don't know if you know it, but I've helped hundreds of people write books, and I think the book has to come out, brother.
Hey, man. All right. I wrote a book. It's called Off the Grid.
I do. I remember that one. Yeah, I remember that.
You got to get that one.
Yeah.
And then we'll write the strategic book about everything else.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to talk to you about that.
Kwame
right?
Kilpatrick, thanks so much for joining us, brother.
And I would love to do that, Kilpatrick. I'd love to come down and hang out with you every week, man.
Let's do it.
That would be awesome.
I'm in.
All right.
All right, brother. Kwame Kilpatrick, former mayor of Detroit, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having me.
That's my brother, man. I love that guy to death. I really do. Do you want me to just continue on, Paul? Yeah, just end the show because I totally blew through those. I apologize. I didn't. Talking to Kwame is always a treat. I know him and Vance Patrick, man. Vance, you got to hear Vance tell the story of him and Kwame and how they were mortal enemies and now they're like brothers. And when Vance told me that story, man, I was just wild. And the more I get to meet, hang around and talk to Kwame, the more I understand what some of the stuff that Vance Patrick has to say about him. We're never our worst day, as Paul said to me today. I hate for people to judge me based upon my worst day. And we do come back. We do. And that's one of the reasons why I love the comeback stories. And Kwame truly has that story. And I love you to death, brother. You know that. And if there's anything I can ever do for you, you know I'm there for you. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I want to thank my guests for tuning in. I want to thank my brother, Kwame Kilpatrick, for calling in. I just called him, 30 minutes ago, Paul? And he was like, yeah, I'm coming on. So, Riley, great job with the guests. Guys, we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. David, I'm wearing my hoodie today. We out!